The cell door opens on a Tuesday morning, and no one is waiting for Cale Moran on the other side. That is fine. He has learned not to expect anything from the city of Halvern. 3 years in Halvern Correctional has a way of burning expectation out of a man the way salt burns a wound. Cleanly and for good. The duty officer slides a manila envelope across the intake desk without looking up. Inside, a gray coat, a battered wallet containing 43 credits, and a folded document stamped case dismissed. Insufficient evidence. Cale reads the stamp twice. Then he puts the coat on, pockets the wallet, and walks out into the morning air. The air smells like diesel and rain. The docks are 2 kilometers south. He can already hear them. 3 years ago, the man he had worked for, Aldrin Vane, a shipping merchant with soft hands and hard principles, was found dead in his study. The official record said poisoning. The witness record, produced by Cyril Vane, Aldrin's wife of 4 years, said it was Cale Moran, the hired dockhand who had been stealing from the accounts. The murder weapon was a glass vial of compound, found in Cale's coat pocket by 2 syndicate enforcement officers who happened to be on the scene within minutes. Their names were Dravak and Herrick. Both of them worked for Runvar Das, the man who ran every license protection contract in the Halvern Port District. The man, in other words, who had arranged the whole thing. Cale had known it from the moment the cuffs went on. He had also known there was nothing he could do about it. Runvar Das owned the enforcement guilds, the dockmaster's office, and 2 of the 3 judges on the municipal tribunal. The case had lasted 4 days. Verdict, guilty. Sentence, 15 years, reduced on appeal to 12, reduced again on a procedural technicality. A witness signature dated 3 days before the alleged crime. To time served. 3 years. He walked south. The one thing Runvar had not counted on, the one thing Cyril had not counted on, was Tam. Aldrin Vane's nephew, 17 years old, had been there the night of the murder. Not in the study. In the kitchen, eating cold rice, the way he always did when he could not sleep. Tam had heard voices. Tam had memorized them. And Tam, for 3 years, had been quietly, carefully writing everything down. Every name, every transaction he overheard from the dockside apartment Cyril had allowed him to stay in because evicting a grieving minor was bad optics, and because she had assumed the boy was harmless. Tam had sent Cale a letter 4 days ago. One sentence. She is making me sign the transit bond tomorrow, or she will have me removed from the apartment. One signature. That was all that stood between the Vane estate's last liquid asset, a 40,000 credit transport licensing bond, and Runvar Das's accounts. After that, there would be nothing left to prove anything. The witnesses would dry up. The documents would be absorbed into syndicate paperwork. Tam would be on the street, and Aldrin Vane's murder would be settled history. Cale has one day. He does not feel afraid. He has not felt afraid in a long time. Not since somewhere around scar number 312, which he received from a cell fight in year 2 that lasted 11 minutes and left a crescent-shaped mark above his left eyebrow. That was the fight where he noticed something had changed, where his body had started moving a half-second ahead of his thinking. Not faster exactly. Clearer. Like a fog he had never noticed had quietly lifted. He had not understood it then. He understands it now. System, Street Sovereign, threshold tokens accumulated, 500/500. Class activation, complete. Combat site, active. Sovereign pressure, active. Classification, unranked/above registry/the storm. The message had appeared in the corner of his vision at 5:47 this morning, in the holding area before release. He had read it without blinking. He had not been surprised. A man who survives 500 street fights, from the back alleys of the Halvern waterfront to the organized brutality of a correctional facility, has already had the fear burned out of him. What is left is something much quieter and much more dangerous. He turns onto the dockside road and walks straight into the first test. 3 men, standing at the mouth of Pier 9, where Cale used to work. 2 of them he knows by sight, syndicate muscle, mid-tier, the kind Runvar uses for perimeter work. The third is new, big, hands like dock clamps. They spread out as he approaches. The formation is casual, practiced, an invitation to stop walking. Cale does not stop. Combat sight opens like a second set of eyes, and the world slows by exactly 1 degree. He sees the big one's right shoulder drop a fraction, the telegraph of a hook. He sees the man on the left shift his weight to his front foot. He is going for a body tackle. He sees the third man reaching into his coat for something that is not a phone. By the time any of them completes the movement they intended, Kale is no longer where they are aiming. It takes 40 seconds. All three of them are on the ground. None of them are seriously hurt. That is deliberate. Kale is not here to leave bodies. He is here to leave a message, and the message travels faster when its recipients can still walk and talk. He takes the third man's radio. He turns it on. He sets it to the syndicate's internal channel, which he still knows because Renvar never bothered to change the codes. He presses transmit. Tell Renvar, I'm coming up from Pier 9. Tell him to keep everyone calm. This will go better if it stays clean. He clips the radio to his coat pocket and keeps walking. Word travels fast in the Halvern docks. By the time he reaches the junction of the lower trade road, there are 6 men waiting. By the time he finishes with the 6 men, 9 minutes, no broken bones, 2 dislocated shoulders. There are 12 more at the warehouse district checkpoint. Renvar, apparently, has decided not to keep things calm. That is also fine. Combat sight does not tire. It does not stall. Every opponent who steps toward Kale arrives preceded by a ghost image, a half-second premonition of exactly what they are going to do, written in muscle tension and footwork and the angle of their eyes. Sovereign pressure does the rest. Trained fighters, men who have spent years learning not to flinch, hesitate at the moment of commitment. A quarter second of involuntary doubt. That is all it takes when a man in front of you already knows what you are going to do. He dismantles the warehouse checkpoint in 11 minutes. He finds Tam at the dockside apartment at the top of the hour, 3 streets east of the warehouse. The boy is pale, sitting at a kitchen table with a document in front of him, and Cyril Vane standing behind his chair like a hand on his shoulder that has not moved in hours. Sarah looks up when Kale opens the door. For a moment, she does not recognize him. 3 years has changed the texture of a man. Then she does recognize him, and the color drains out of her face the way water drains from a cracked basin. Tam, Kale says without looking at her. Don't sign that. Tam pushes the document away from him so fast it slides off the table. Cyril opens her mouth. Kale looks at her for the first time, and the look alone is enough. Whatever she was going to say, she closes her mouth without saying it. Sovereign pressure has no combat trigger requirement. It radiates in the presence of intent, and she has enough intent in her eyes for the room to register it. You should call your lawyer, Kale tells her. You're going to need one. He takes the transit bond document from the floor. He folds it and puts it in his coat pocket. He looks at Tam. Has he eaten? He asks. No, Tam says. We'll fix that after. He turns toward the door. But first I need to finish this. The Halvern Trade House is a 12-floor building on the edge of the Port Authority District, in that useful gray zone where licensed commerce blurs into something less licensed. Renvar Das keeps his offices on the top floor. He has kept them there for 11 years. The location communicates something, a man at the top of a building, looking down at the port he owns. The 12 floors take Kale 47 minutes. This is not because of resistance, though there is resistance. The building has 4 checkpoints, staffed by men who are increasingly alarmed by the radio updates that have been coming in from the docks all morning. It is because Kale is methodical. He does not rush. He takes each floor in order, disables each checkpoint cleanly, and lets the men he leaves sitting against the walls radio their own status reports to the floor above. He wants Renvar to understand, with perfect clarity, what is approaching and how it works. He wants the man to have the full experience of counting down. By the time Kale steps out of the stairwell onto the 12th floor, Renvar Das is alone. The last 2 guards had made their decision 3 minutes ago. They are not cowards. They are practical men who have correctly assessed the situation. The door to Renvar's private office is open. The man himself is standing behind his desk, and his posture tells Kale everything before a single word is exchanged. The shoulders are up, the hands are flat on the desk surface, the chin is slightly tucked. A powerful man who has just run out of power. Rinvar Das is 61 years old. He has white hair and a compact, once athletic build that is softened at the edges. He has run the Halvern Syndicate for 22 years. He has arranged the framing of a dockhand, the slow poisoning of a merchant, and the financial dismemberment of a dead man's estate. He has done all of this with the calm, institutional patience of a man who knows the city's machinery is built around his maintenance contracts. He looks at Kale the way a man looks at a structural crack in a wall he was told was load-bearing. You were supposed to be in correctional for 12 years, he says. Technicality, Kale says. I can make that go away. The dismissal. Put you back in within a week. He says it the way he says everything, with the flat certainty of a man announcing a schedule. Or we could talk about numbers. You spent 3 years in there. That has a value. I can honor that value. Kale reaches into his coat. He places a sealed document on the desk between them. The paper is old. The edges have gone soft with age and careful folding. The date stamp on the outside reads 3 years and 2 months ago, before the arrest. Rinvar looks at it. He does not touch it. Aldrin Vane kept records, Kale says. He kept them the way careful men do, off-site, in a format his wife did not know about. He knew something was wrong 6 months before he died. He documented it. Names, dates, account numbers. He gave me a copy the week before you had him killed because he trusted me and because he knew what was coming. A pause. I have been holding it for 3 years. The original is with a solicitor. It was set to be delivered to the Municipal Oversight Bureau on the 1st of next month regardless of what happened to me. But I thought you deserved the chance to hear it in person. Rinvar's composure cracks along a single line. Not dramatically. Just a visible tremor in the hands are still flat on the desk, and a long, controlled exhale through the nose. What do you want, he says. A signed confession. Today, witnessed admissible. Rinvar Das authorized the murder of Aldrin Vane, arranged the poisoning, planted the evidence on Kale Moran, and directed the subsequent liquidation of the Vane estate. In full. All parties named. If I sign, then I'm finished. Yes. And if I don't sign it, the Bureau gets the documents anyway. Yes. A long silence fills the top floor of the Halvern Trade House. Outside the window, the port stretches to the horizon. Every contract, every route, every licensed operation that Rinvar has spent 22 years building. He looks at it. Then he looks at the document. Then he looks at Kale. Can you at least, he stops. Starts again. His voice has gone quiet, almost soft, and in a different life it might have sounded like dignity. Can you at least ensure my family isn't named? My daughter had nothing to do with. Your daughter isn't in the record, Kale says. She's clean. Rinvar sits down. He opens the drawer. He takes out a pen. He signs. The Halvern Municipal Oversight Bureau receives 2 documents that afternoon. Rinvar Das's witness confession and Aldrin Vane's original records, delivered by courier from the solicitor's office, as scheduled. By evening, Bureau enforcement officers arrive at the trade house. Rinvar is taken in a car that leaves quietly through the service entrance. Cyril Vane's solicitor contacts the estate registry and finds, to no one's satisfaction except her own, that the transit bond document she needed Tam to sign is no longer in her possession, and thus cannot legally be executed. The estate is frozen, then reviewed, then returned in full to its rightful heir. Tam Vane, 18 years old and the last person Aldrin Vane trusted with his name, signs the estate transfer documents in a solicitor's office 3 weeks later. He does it with his jacket pressed and his hands steady. When it is done, he walks out into the same Halvern morning air, diesel and rain, the docks 2 kilometers south, and finds Kale Moran waiting on the steps outside. Breakfast, Kale says. The municipal registry processes the classification update 9 days later. It appears at the bottom of the enforcement registry's public leaderboard, below the names of every licensed syndicate operator, every registered street enforcer, every guild-cleared contractor in the city of Halvern. 1 line, no rank number, no affiliation, Kale Moran, unranked / above registry / the storm. Below it in smaller text, a system note that the registry had no classification template to fill. Asterisk threshold class. Street sovereign. No further data available. Asterisk. Runvar Das, from his holding cell in the Halvern Correctional Intake Wing, does not see it. He has more immediate things to read.